Hello, and welcome to another Settlers Stew video, 10th anniversary edition. And today we are looking at soldiers, and you can see I've sent out 2 soldiers to attack the enemy capital. Why 2? Well, it's because 1, I know that there are 12 soldiers in there who are defending it. 2, I happen to know that all of those soldiers are just privates and I'm sending out generals. And 3, I've done the math. I've looked at the probabilities. I have observed well over 1,600 attacks and have figured out the probabilities of each of the generals, the officers, the sergeants, the colonels and the privates. So without further ado, let's look at how this works out and how many privates my generals are going to defeat. Before going any further, I want to thank everybody who watched or commented on my last video. It's up to 100 views already, which is very exciting. If you haven't seen it, it's the focus on the military, and as a reward, as a treat, I've spent quite a lot of time on the Settlers Fandom site, and I've created a page for each of the buildings that we've looked at. I've condensed all of that information that's in the videos into a page. So if we look at the well, let's look at the watchtower, for example, and you can see we've got all about the construction, the soldiers, promotions, our optimization, and all of the tricks and tips that I've mentioned in my Focus On series are now found in this Fandom wiki, so you can look at them too. And of course, if I've got all of the little pictures here and charts that we've put together. And if you want to look at the video, if you prefer to watch it that way, I've put a link to the videos in each of these pages. So the settlers.fandom.com and the wiki, and you can look at the Settlers 2 10th anniversary edition. So thank you very much to everybody who's looked at my videos and contributed to them. Hopefully you'll enjoy this site as well. You can also get all the information on the statistics from this video under the player versus AI and the player versus player for when you're attacking, and you can see we've got the charts that I'm about to show you here. One of the reasons why I've done this is because I'm going to be away for a little while, going on holiday for about a month, and so I will start a new series, I believe, when we get back from that. So thank you very much again. Let's get on with looking at the attacks. So I started my observations looking at me, the player, versus the enemy AI, and attacking his private soldiers lowest level with different levels of mine. And as you can see, as you attack with higher level soldiers, your chance of hitting them goes up until it's about 1 in 4 by the time you have a general, and their chance of defending it goes down until it's less than 1 in 10 when they are defending against your general. So your soldiers will be about 3 to 4 times better than theirs if your general is attacking their private. That means that your win rate, if you've just got a one-on-one, if you're attacking their private with your private, you'll only win about 1/3 of the time. If you have a corporal, you'll win about 2/3 of the time, a sergeant about 4/5 of the time, and by the time you've got an officer or a general, you should win every battle versus their private. So I charted this, and you can see the green is me, the orange is the enemy, and by the time I get 3 hits to kill their private, if I'm going up against one of their privates, they will have got 4 hits, so I'll have died. On the other hand, a colonel, I'd get 3 hits, they'd get 3 hits, they would die because the colonel has 4 hit points. So by the time you've got a colonel, you should be winning the battles more often than you're losing, all the way up to officers and generals. And if we extrapolate that out, you can see that if one of my privates goes up against one of their generals, well, if you count, he's going to kill 12 of my guys before I get enough hits to kill one of his guys. If you want to look at this chart further, you can find it on that Fandom site. But then I looked at the actual numbers you would need in order to defeat the enemies, and so my private up against their general, I'm going to have 12.8 of my privates before I can beat one of their generals. On the other hand, if one of my generals goes up against one of their privates, well, I'm going to only take 1 hit for every private theirs I kill. In fact, if we turn the math around a little bit, then this chart will show you how many of their privates they'll need to kill one of my generals, which is just over 7. You can see from this that the AI is about 1/3 more likely to kill one of my soldiers if everything is equal. That's the way that the game offsets the player's advantage for just being smarter. But what about when there is no advantage, when it's player versus player? Well, you can see that when a private attacks a private, it's roughly equal. Who's going to win? It's luck of the draw. You probably just want to send more of your guys. But as your soldiers increase their rank, the general is actually about 4 to 5 times more likely to hit a private than the private is to hit the general, and so you're going to need at least 4 to 5 to get the same number of hits. And again, if we extrapolate that using the number of extra hits, because the general has 7 hits, a private only has 3, then you can see that you're going to need about 10 privates to defeat 1 enemy general if you're playing player versus player. You're going to need 2 colonels to defeat 1 private if you're playing player versus player, 3 privates to defeat 1 sergeant, 7 privates to defeat 1 officer. So you can look at these, you can extrapolate them out. You can use this chart, just multiply the number of soldiers that you have or the number of soldiers that they have, and it'll figure out for you how many soldiers you're going to need, statistically speaking, to beat them. And so, friends, that's how I knew that my 2 generals could take out 12 privates in that castle and the 2 that would come from somewhere else to defend, and statistically speaking, both my guys would survive and their capital would be destroyed. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe, like, comment, however you'd like to interact. Thanks again for watching. Have a lovely day, and I will see you in about a month.